7 women scientists who did the work, but the credit went to the dudes. Let's be real, science has had a major history of giving credit where it's not due. Spoiler alert, it's usually the guys who end up in the spotlight, while the women who did the actual work get left in the shadows. So today, we're throwing it back and shining some well-deserved light on 7 iconic women scientists whose genius was straight up sidelined. Let's get into it. 1. Rosalind Franklin, the real MVP of DNA. So you've heard of Watson and Crick, right? They're basically poster boys for the discovery of DNA's double helix structure. But plot twist, a British legend named Rosalind Franklin Loki snapped the most important X-ray image of DNA, called Photo 51, way back in 1951 at King's College London. That photo was the missing puzzle piece. But guess what? One of her own colleagues secretly showed the image to Watson and Crick without asking her. Rude. They rushed to publish their findings in 1953, while Rosalind's research, which literally confirmed the double helix, got buried further down in the journal, making it seem like she was just backing them up. She passed away from cancer in 1958, and 4 years later, Watson and Crick got the Nobel Prize, solo. Franklin, no mention. On top of that, SS also worked on coal structures and helped improve gas masks during World War II. Literal icon, 0 credit. 2. Eunice Foote, the OG climate queen. Everyone talks about John Tyndall when it comes to the greenhouse effect, but guess who did it first? Eunice freaking Foote. In the 1850s, this American scientist did experiments with glass cylinders and gases under sunlight. She found out that CO2 trapped heat like crazy, way before global warming was trending. She dropped her findings in 1857, 3 years before Tyndall. But plot twist, she wasn't allowed to present at the science conference because she was a woman. So she asked a male colleague to present for her. Classic. Even though her work was groundbreaking, Tyndall still gets the clout. 3. Hedy Lamarr, from glamour to gadgets. Hedy Lamarr was more than just a bombshell on screen. Sis was also a low-key tech genius. During World War II, she teamed up with composer George Antheil and came up with frequency hopping, a system to prevent enemies from jamming radio-controlled torpedoes. At first, the US Navy was like, nah, we good, and ignored her patent. But plot twist, they used her idea later anyway. Her invention ended up becoming the foundation for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all the wireless tech we literally can't live without today. She eventually got recognized with the Electronic Frontier Foundation Award. But still, imagine inventing Wi-Fi and not getting props for it till decades later. Wild. 4. Ada Lovelace, the first coder ever. Back in the 1800s, when coding wasn't even a thing, Ada Lovelace was out here writing the world's first computer program. She was working with mathematician Charles Babbage on his analytical engine, an early version of the computer. In her notes from 1843, Ada explained how the machine could be programmed to solve equations and even make music. But since Babbage built the hardware, people acted like Ada was just helping out. Nah, fam, she literally created the blueprint for programming. Period. 5. Alice Ball, the chem queen who fought leprosy. At just 23 years old, Alice Ball was making moves in the lab. She was working in Hawaii on a treatment for leprosy, a disease that used to mean total isolation. Traditional medicine like chalmugra oil kinda helped, but it couldn't be injected because it didn't mix with the bloodstream. Alice figured out how to make the oil injectable. Game changer. But then tragedy hit. She died young from a lab accident. And instead of honoring her, the head of her department, Arthur Dean, slapped his name on the method and called it the Dean method. Yikes. Luckily, another colleague later called out the BS, and the treatment was finally renamed the Ball method. She also became the first woman and first black chemistry professor at the University of Hawaii. Let that sink in. So yeah, these women were way ahead of their time, but instead of being celebrated, their work got hijacked, buried, or just straight up erased. Not on our watch. Let's keep their stories alive, because they deserve way more than a footnote in history books.